Namaskar. Welcome to Ancient Wisdom. Today we will be learning the concept of Anachronous paradox. We will learn what is it, what is its significance, and why does it exist. Anachronous paradox means we receive the collected information and arrange it in a way that is rational, logical and understandable to us. That is, whatever is the incoming information, we arrange it in molds of our own making. It may be correct, but mostly not correct, and that is called as Anachronous paradox. There are three paradoxes. First is exchange of cause and effect. What is actually cause is taken as effect, and what is the effect is taken as cause. An example will make it clear. Many a times an aged patient goes to a doctor and says that he fell in the bathroom and broke his bone. Whereas the doctor finds out that the reality was different. The patient has broken his bone first, and that is why he fell in the bathroom. This is generally happening in cases of osteoporosis, where bones become brittle. But what do we experience in day-to-day life? If person falls and breaks, so that logic is fit in our brain. So we apply the same logic to this, and we change the chronology of the events. The second one is compression or expansion of time. Max Muller was a great and knowledgeable person, no doubt about it. He set up a limit of 2500 years for cultural evolution. That is, he said that the first culture came up in human settlements at about 2500 years ago. And his depth of study, his fame was so great that every single researcher after him tried to fit his research effects within that 2500 years time frame. Many a times with simplistic, if not ridiculous effects. This is another part of Anachronous paradox. The third part, or the third way, is that actual reason for an activity and the understood reason for that activity could be different. For example, we have seen that the human being was hunter-gatherer at one time and then turned to agriculture and animal husbandry. And we justify it looking at the uncertainty of hunting gathering, the risk involved, and the problems of every day going out and gathering something or hunting an animal which may not be available, and so on and so forth. As compared to farming, which is much easier, you are sitting at home, working around home, and have lots of neighbors to help you with. But when it actually happened, the situation was quite different. Hunting gathering was much better profession or much better way of life than farming. Given that they had a lot of variety of food to choose from, there was plenty of food available just for the picking, hardly any risk involved other than when you are looking for a big animal which you need not. Variety of food offering you great nutrition. At the same time, if the food supply was over in one area, just get up and go to another area, thus maintaining hygiene. Whereas farming itself was quite uncertain. It led to fights between people. You had to wait for a long period, You are dependent totally on the rains, and so on and so forth. But these reasons we don't see because today we see farming from today's point of view. So these are the three types of anachronous paradoxes that exist in any study, and it is imperative that we understand these paradoxes and get to the truth so that we understand the processes as they were meant to be or as they were supposed to be. Now we'll see the general introduction to science that is given to us, to our students at the age of at the 6th standard, 7th standard, 8th standard or 9th standard. We are taught that 15,000 years ago human beings were hunter-gatherer tribes, hunter-gatherer gypsies. 10,000 years ago they got tired of wandering and they began to settle down. They started farming and then domesticated animals. They also diversified into animal husbandry, keeping cows for milk and bulls for farm work. Then, slowly, languages developed to an extent where discussions were possible. And then rose culture, and from that came religion. And then from religion, they established temples and villages were established and the temples were established. This is the chronology. We'll see this chronology in short. Hunting gathering tribes, settlement, farming, animal husbandry, village community, culture building and temple building. Whereas the modern research has thrown a completely different light on what we were taught while we were in school. There is an excavation site called as Gobekli Tepe in Turkey, which is at least 15,000 years old. And it is a carved out temple on large limestone deposits. Now interestingly, in the excavation, no remnants of grains or bones of domesticated animals, etc. has been found. Which means when the temple was made, the people were hunter-gatherers. And there was not a village around this place, so to say. So, what is the chronology? Now the chronology is changing, it is going head over heels. It starts with hunting gathering crowds, culture develops. Because culture develops, they want for temple, they need captive food stock to feed the artisans who are going to make the temple. And that is why as they start erecting the temple, they slowly start settling or doing farm work. And then over a period of time, villages, communities and cities develop. This is turning the earlier hypothesis completely over its head. So temples develop first, and because temples were developed, that is why villages and communities develop. This may sound illogical to some extent today, but in those days, that was the way it had happened. And this is what is Anachronous paradox. Anachronous paradox is the way to research in variety of happenings in science, and science does not go with common sense, science does not go with accepted practices, and science does not go with anybody's fame. It goes with critical analysis and fitting that analysis in the time when it happened and then synthesizing it all. Studying Anachronous paradox is of paramount importance. Thank you.